overnight.
It's the best their hosts can provide. A leaking, dark and disused warehouse on a dockside. This is the British Forces induction to the Balkans. Their first order is unambiguous and strictly enforced. No one's to leave the building. Such is the fragility of the Greek government that British Army uniforms are seen as provocation to the local community, where anti-NATO sentiment is rife. Greece is a NATO member, but here in Thessalonica, its allies' colours have to be hidden from public view. For these soldiers, though, their attention is concentrated further north.
Since the bombing campaign began on the night of 23rd and 24th of March, Serb operations within Kosovo have been conducted at an unparalleled pace.
Off the coast, anchored anonymously, a Royal Fleet auxiliary ship laden with battle hardware waits for Greek permission to dock after sunset. If there is an agreement to send in a peace implementation force, these will be the tools for the job. Bridge layers will be essential. NATO intelligence says the Serb army has mined and set explosives on all bridges in Kosovo for demolition. On the cargo deck, hidden by diesel fumes, some of NATO's key ground force weapons, self-propelled guns and Challenger battle tanks, more than capable of taking on Serb armour, but NATO, suitably defensive, calls them peace enforcers. British battle tanks arriving in the Balkans, yet NATO still insists they're only here to take part in an eventual peacekeeping operation inside Kosovo. Yet that arrival tonight is a political statement of intent, because if there's no compliance from Belgrade, then this squadron of tanks will inevitably become part of the ground force operation of this war. But for the moment, for all of these soldiers, this is a venture into the unknown. They've been deployed on an operation for which the final orders have yet to be written. Colin Baker, ITN, Thessalonica.
Police investigating Jill Dando's murder confirmed today they were also now looking into a death threat against the head of BBC News. The threat came from a man claiming firstly to be Serbian and secondly to have been responsible for murdering the BBC presenter. But police say it's just one line of their murder inquiry, as Paul Davis reports.
Understandably, the BBC is not giving details of new safety measures it's introducing, but the security offered to prominent members of its staff is being reviewed following the death threat against its head of news. Tony Hall was one of the first to express his shock at the murder of Jill Dando on Monday.
Well, we're all absolutely devastated by the news. I've just left the newsroom upstairs where we've had a minute's silence.
On Tuesday, the BBC received a telephone call threatening Tony Hall's life. A male caller said Jill Dando had been killed in retaliation for the NATO bombing of Serbian television, and Tony Hall would be next. Detectives investigating Jill Dando's murder say the alleged Serbian connection is just one of several lines of inquiry they're following. Belgrade television has reported the murder of Jill Dando, but no suggestion that Serbian agents are targeting British journalists.
Our security services are very efficient, and I'm quite sure that if they have any reason to believe that any specific journalist, such as the head of the BBC, may be under a death threat, then they will make sure that they are given proper protection.
The BBC points out that threats to its presenters and other members of staff are not unusual. Almost all turn out to be hoaxes. However, all threats have to be taken seriously. At a time when the corporation is still mourning the loss of Jill Dando, it is particularly sensitive to the safety of its people. The BBC announced today, after consultation with Jill Dando's family, they would not be broadcasting the remainder of her Antiques Inspectors series. Every day since her murder, people have been laying flowers outside Jill Dando's house. Today's tributes included a note from an ambulance man, apologising that his efforts hadn't been enough to save her. Paul Davis, ITN, West London.
The Conservative Party leader William Hague left Westminster behind today, and with it the